Well, it shouldn't take long today. Our little foray into what it costs to live here. We didn't get very much on this particular time of shopping. So we don't have any really big things. Kraft cheddar, because that's what I eat most for quick protein and snacks. I have that and the Sky Flakes. That was, actually it seems quite expensive, is for a piece. Let's see it. Well, as they come out I'll tell you. I'm going to go back to the Sky Flakes. This is 246 apples for 116 pesos. And 28 for 3 tomatoes, excuse me. I think the eggs are staying pretty standard. Doesn't actually give me the price there, but I got a dozen eggs. Yeah, fresh eggs, and they're large. I do notice something about the eggs here. I think that they are farmed locally. I think Alturas actually has its own facility. We pass it sometimes when we're driving out on a particular road, and the eggs are larger, and the shell is actually much thicker because they're harder to break. It's amazing, which I count as a good thing, because when you have these farm chickens, which are just held in a tiny cage that's barely big enough for them to move, and they live their whole life in that and are fed all kinds of stuff. Probably these are too. And then it's here, it says, yeah, Marcella Farm. Where does it say? These are local then, Barangay Lourdes in Cortes in Bohol. So these are farmed locally. And it does say that the tomatoes are also farmed locally. But it doesn't say where, it just says fresh market. I wonder about the apples. They're always parked the same. Fuji apples. No details at all on those, but these actually, they taste quite good. So we've got that and the tomatoes. I just got a dozen eggs because we already have some eggs in there, and I do like to eat at least 3 eggs a day. That's high in protein, and they're excellent for nutrition. Beth and I are on, we're kind of, I like to think that we're in boot camp. We're trying to probably eat less, so that we have, say, 2 meals a day, which the fancy name for that is intermittent fasting. So if you can have dinner, around 6 o'clock in the evening, or maybe between 6 and 7, you have dinner then. Now, if you then go to midday the next day, that can count as a fast, which apparently is very good for you. Now, I've been doing that for quite a time, except now I do have maybe 1 tomato or 2 tomatoes and 2 small slices like this of cheese. I don't think it counts as a meal, but it does count as something in your stomach, doesn't it? So that's it. I did get bananas. Boy, we shift these things like nobody's business. These will be probably gone by the end of the day. And with a small one, if you're a calorie counter, these probably are maybe 40 calories, because a normal size banana, what I call normal, the larger one, say, looking at this size, is probably about 80 calories. Which, if you're trying, I have a poor man's idea of how to count calories. I don't know, and I'm not interested in studying whether something is this many calories or that many calories. I remember seeing that something like a Big Mac. If you go to McDonald's, in the days when I used to go quite often, McDonald's, a Big Mac or a quarter pounder, whichever you call them, the big one anyway, the Big Mac, it's about 600 calories. Now, you know, for my size, I'm 5'9", and I'm actually 70 kilos. So for me, I'm guessing that my calorie need, in order to maintain what I have without getting fat, just maintenance, is probably around 2,000 calories. And a woman would be a lot less, around probably 1,000 to 1,500. Well, if you look at having one meal in McDonald's and it being 600 to maybe 800, if you think of Coke, a normal glass of Coke, we're looking at a glass as being this big, right? And that has 17, a normal, not non-sugar, has 17 spoonfuls of sugar in it for just one glass of Coca-Cola. So if you're going in there and you have a large Coke and think of having the Big Mac, you're looking at about at least 600 and probably 800 calories. So let's say that you have your 2 meals a day that I'm suggesting for intermittent fasting, and you lived off McDonald's. That will be an easy counter. Yes, not quite so easy to work out how many 2 of these tomatoes and 2 pieces this big of cheddar cheese is. But the way that I figure it is that I'm fairly well within my calorie count per day. Now, what I did when I started to think that I'm not looking so good, I need to actually trim down. I didn't trim down a lot in weight because I've been working out. I get up at 4 in the morning and I work out religiously. I work out. I have a routine. I do it without thinking. It's really vitally important that if you actually start to do a routine, work a routine out based on your research on YouTube. This is what I did. Everything that came up on YouTube when I was browsing that was to do with fitness, that was to do with building a good physique, I liked. Hello, darling.
Hello, darling.
What are you doing?
Nothing, darling. Just say hello.
You just came to say hello. Okay. I thought I'd been hijacked for a minute. It happens. So, I would hit like for everything that was to do with keeping fit. YouTube is incredible for some things, right? I can't understand what they do with our channel, that we have so many subscribers, 261,000, and yet we don't get pushed. We don't get promoted as much as we should do for what we do, but that's another video. So if you hit like on all of the keep fit informational things that people are putting up, you'll see people with awesome bodies. You will see Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was in his prime, Mr. Universe. You'll see all of those, and of course, if you're not being very bright on that day, that you're looking at that and you're saying to yourself, but I don't want to be like Mr. Schwarzenegger, you have no chance, okay? Especially if you're an old fart like me. The best that you can do is to work out a routine that is based on what you are seeing other people say works, and you can easily see if it works by looking at them. So, you work your routine out, and when you get up, the reason I get up in the morning at 4 is because when I get up at 4, the house is in dead silence, no matter who is staying, right? And I am totally undisturbed. I can walk about, so I get up, I do my, and when I've showered, I have a cold shower, I have a shave, brush my teeth, all of my ablutions, and then straight away I put my exercise mat down and I begin. And I try not to think during that time. It's important not to think about random thoughts passing through as if you're looking at Facebook and just scrolling and saying one thing after another. Well, that's interesting for 1 minute, and then on to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next, and your mind is just like, it's just like standing at the side of a busy road and watching the cars go by. Those are your thoughts. Not going to get you anywhere. So, you work your routine out that's based on the exercises that you have done and can do, and you push yourself, create a routine, and then do it. And you do it every morning. And the way that it's worked for me is to get up at 4. Sometimes I might sleep in, might go to 4:30. I get up in the dead of night, and it's just me. And I get myself ready. I have a shower, everything, and then I do my routine. And the routine is king. It doesn't be, well, shall I not do as much today? No. Nobody ever succeeded doing anything by saying, I'm working too hard, I better not do so much. So anyway, that's, we've gone off on a tangent. I know, it's what I do. Eggs, let's get back to it. Bananas, these are excellent. If you're going to snack in between those meals that you're not supposed to be having, bananas are very good. So, what else did I get? This is meat. Now, this is actually pork bones. There's a lot of meat on them, and when you put them into the pot with a few herbs and spices or whatever Beth does, then this will make great soup and cook the meat, and you will look like you're in one of those movies. You remember the movies of the Vikings and stuff like that, and you see them, and Ragnar is sitting next to a Great Dane dog, and he's gnawing on some kind of animal bone, and that's what you look like, because that's the only way to get the meat off, and I've learned to eat with my hands. So that's that. How much did that cost? It was $1.90 a kilo. So where's the meat? Show me the meat. Here it says pork bones, big pack, $1.90. So this must have been 1 kilo. And she cautioned me. She said, pork bones, sir, $1.90 a kilo. I said, yes. Well, it's $1.90 a kilo. Oh, that's good. Well, how much is this then? And she looked and she said, $1.90. I said, well, isn't that a coincidence? So, there's the meat. And that will be for several meals. And I have to get my emergency stuff. I got 4 cans of corned beef. Now, these seem to be very expensive these days. I know that, let me see, corned beef, and for the 4 cans it was $1.35. So let's say $2.50. Now the reason we have these is because if we have nothing else to eat, we can always go to the drawer, take out a couple of cans of corned beef and rice, and mix them with, say, 2 cans of corned beef and 2 eggs, and we mix those together and put them with rice, and it's an excellent meal. Now the thing is, for a lot of people who are finicky eaters, it probably wouldn't be enough, and they say, what again? We had that last week. I don't think that way. Unfortunately, neither does Beth. So we just count it, still counting it on our, what I used to call siege mentality, in that we consider any food that we get that fills the belly is a lucky strike. So I got 4 cans. Now, what we've been doing lately is sometimes we've been cooking the pork bones, and that gives us a lot of soup, which I love. It goes with the rice. With the soup that comes from the pork bones, any amount of rice is edible as a meal. So we're talking now. I tend to think when I'm doing these little videos, and I do think occasionally, but I consider that they are talks about how to survive. And after 8 years, I served nearly 9 years in the British Army, and I learned to eat to survive and not to pleasure my mouth and eyes. So as long as it's edible and it will sustain me, I can eat it, and I could eat this with 2 eggs and rice, and I could eat it every day and enjoy it. That's how unfussy I am. Now Beth can also do it. She can eat just rice, which I need something to moisten the rice. So the pork bones is a great thing for me. So that was, if you look at that, $1.90. Let's say the easy way that it was $4, and it will probably be the meat for say 3, possibly 4 meals. So that's good value. I'm talking from the viewpoint that if you're a foreigner and you're coming out here, what happens if the crap hits the fan for some reason and you can't get to your money and you've got to survive? Now the thing is, if you're on your own, you probably might be in trouble, okay? But if you have a Filipina wife, then you're okay. They are bomb-proof. A Filipina is bomb-proof in hard times. They've seen it. They've seen it all. They've lived it. They've survived on the least. They've gone hungry. I came from the UK. I'm originally British. I went and stayed. I lived in the United States, and I'm a US citizen. But I lived in the States for just around 20 plus years. So my heritage is that I was born in the war years. I was born 1939, right just before the outbreak of the Second World War. Now the thing is, I often say, as a very weak little joke that doesn't get any laughs at all, that I'm the middle child, and the middle child gets blamed for everything. So I just want to make it clear that the Second World War was not my fault. Okay. Now, so where are we? Here we are. We'll get those, and that may be dinner on several occasions. Now, let me see, what's this? This will be the sachets for hair, and that's how they sell it. What did it take? Keratin Plus, and we got 9 pieces, and it cost just 56 pesos, which is $1. All right, now you guys who go to the Costco and you come home with shampoo in mega-sized cartons will not understand that this is the Filipino way. And I've been lectured on many occasions where people have said to me, don't you understand, Terence, don't you understand? that this is a very expensive way to buy, and yes, Terence does understand, really, but that's the way in the Philippines. So, let's put that back in over there. I told you I bought bananas, I didn't tell you how much they were. We've eaten a few of these bananas, but you can see that cost, I think, 45 pesos. So not even $1 for those, which seems like pretty good value. What are they? I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, probably got between 15 and 20 bananas. And sweet, local. Somebody who lives not very far from us picked those off a banana tree. That's a comforting thought in these days and years of being told not to eat processed food. Yes, I know about this. So, now I should have got these, but I indulge myself. I just love this, and it goes in no time at all, and it's 240 pesos, so nearly $5, which is an obscene show of wealth on my part. Nobody else likes it, which is wonderful. And here's my snack. These are my snacks. They're very dry. I don't think there's much sugar in them, although I don't see anything written on here, so it doesn't tell you. But they're not very sugary, which is a good thing. And nobody eats this either. Dairy products are limited to, in the Philippines, my experience is that dairy products are limited to eggs. And let me see what else. I'm really searching to find out what else dairy products would be. It's pretty well only eggs that I see. I never see anybody using butter, even though I see it on the shelves, and I see margarine. Probably they'll eat margarine, which everybody should be educated enough to know now that margarine was never anything but a marketing ploy. You should eat butter. I have butter, nobody else eats it. I have jam. People eat that, but that's what Lovely eats, and she will eat when she comes here, and she'll eat that with a big spoon. They don't spread it thin on a piece of bread, or, where's my crackers? I sometimes have it with butter and with jam. Delicious. So that's what I got. All of this, it doesn't seem like a lot, but the total was 1,230. I'll let you work your calculator in working out how that goes. But as you can see, a lot of these things you would consume over days. I mean, you're not going to eat all of these apples all the time. Strangely enough, if I gave Lovely an apple, an entire apple, I would find 3/4 of the apple still uneaten, with the nibblings out of the quarter or the third, and it would be put in the fridge if I was lucky. I don't know why. They don't understand when I eat a raw tomato. Although Taliklit did know that this is fruit, not a vegetable. Beth will not by choice eat vegetables. She just doesn't do it. When Talik comes, and she comes and she cooks, and she's a very good cook actually, and she will use my tomatoes and cook with them, that and onions. I've never ever, in the 10 years that we've been here, living at first with Nanai in Nanai's house and eating at that table, and then later when we moved here, obviously we began eating alone. Never seen a salad, right? So the idea, when I got all of the stuff, the ingredients to have a nice salad, and made a salad, the idea of eating lettuce and sliced onion, chopped onion, and tomatoes, even the simplest possible salad that you could cook, they thought it was strange, and they didn't join me. So I see that we've been waffling on quite a bit, 25 minutes, and probably I'm speaking to one hand that will be clapping. So I'll let it go. This is what I got for 1,250 pesos this time, and it will last as long as it lasts. This will last possibly for 2 weeks. So difficult, and these may be gone by the end of these might be gone by Friday. We go down to Tom's, which is I think it's his wife. It's in his wife's name, Candelaria, and I've done videos before about how excellent the food is, and how very reasonably priced. We had lunch today from Tom's place, Candelaria, and it's just down the road. Right when our road meets the highway, there is Tom's place, and the food is good, and the prices are good too. And we had a lovely meal, and with enough left over to add to the meal this evening. And for a couple of weeks there, we ate every day from Tom's takeaway, and felt well fed. And sometimes for as little as 150 or 200 pesos, we had enough for 2 meals. We had lunch and we had dinner. So incredible value. Right, I'll let you go. Please like, subscribe and share. It's very important to us if you can share, because it will force even YouTube's AI to include us in those that it pushes around for people to say, maybe you would like to watch this program, and that's what happens. And so our area of influence begins to get back to what it used to be when we were riding a carabao called James Bond. Okay, thanks. Do what you can to help. It's appreciated. Bye.